Hiya buddy, I've not made a video in a wee while, mostly because the weather's been awful and I've got some good ideas for some videos, but they're mostly outside. So I decided to make you a wee one today. It's Thursday the 5th of March, which means it's World Book Day, or World Boo Day as some have been calling it, just me. I understand it's, well, I understand from the letter that I got in for your school that you have to dress up as a character from your favourite book, and he's getting interested in new books and whatnot. So this is maybe one of the videos which is no interest to anybody else but you, and when I say you, it's probably an older you than the one you are now. I couldn't even tell you what your favourite book would be at this point. You used to like Horrid Henry's and David Williams books, but I'm going to tell you my favourite books, or mostly my favourite book. I've got two favourite books. One is called, and they're from the same period, written in the 1950s, 1960s. The one that probably comes second is called To Kill a Mockingbird. And it's a novel by a lady called Harper Lee, and it's based in the 1950s where a famous lawyer defends a black servant from a crime he didn't commit. It goes into all sorts of details about slavery and the way we treat one another, or the way certainly that Americans used to treat one another. Quite a mature book, obviously, to be talking about you, to talk to you about, but it's no doubt one that you'll probably come across in high school or afterwards. But that's a cracker of a book, and it has a relatively happy ending. Also, interestingly enough, there's a band for the 90s called the Boo Radleys, which until I read the book I didn't realise the Boo Radleys it was a character in To Kill a Mockingbird, but that's a bit of a side note. My favourite book ever is called The Catcher in the Rye. This is from J.D. Salinger, and it was out in 1953, if I've got my notes right, I suppose you would say. The Catcher in the Rye is basically about a young man, I believe he's about 15 or 16, who leaves. It starts off with him speaking to you from some sort of hospital, you believe, but it ends up sort of descending and telling the story over 4 days, starting which the first day he gets suspended from a kind of expensive private school. It's set in Pennsylvania and New York, so he gets suspended from a kind of a prep school is what they would call it in America, an expensive one, and I think it's something like his 4th or 5th expulsion in a number of years. He knows his mum and dad aren't going to be happy, and it's mostly to do with him being disillusioned with the school and whatnot. He was failing all his classes, he wasn't interested and whatnot, and over the next 3 or 4 days he leaves a place called Prentice Prep School, and he travels back to New York, and basically the story revolves around him kind of devolving, you notice, into some kind of, how can I put it, his mental state isn't good, but you only see that through little kind of subtle tones and subtle things that happen in the book. For example, when he visits his mum and dad's house, like on the second day of being expelled or something like that, his mum and dad aren't in. The only person that's in is his sister Phoebe, his little sister, who he very much loves, and he tells her he's going away because he's sick of everybody in New York and blah blah blah, and she explains that he should try and be more positive, but he cannot be positive at all. He seems to hate everyone and to hate the world, Everyone he meets he sees as a phony. That word is mentioned about 100 times in the book, phony. And this is a book, probably you could probably read this round about the age of 13 or 14 and understand exactly what is going on. And again, throughout the 4 days or so, he is essentially travelling around New York, and he sleeps at a sleazy motel, and he sleeps at an old teacher friend of his. He sleeps at his house, who tries to put a sort of positive spin on Holden, and tries to pick him up and stop him being so negative. And it's then that you kind of start realising that there is no non-negativity, positivity I should say, about Holden. What is happening to him is he's creeping into a kind of deep depression, which very, very sad obviously. That just, it's an extreme form of sadness you might say. And this is all brought on by a culmination of I think his mum and dad's expectations in him, his failures at various schools, his failures with girls, and also the premature death of his younger brother Ali some years before it, which you come to understand he never really dealt with at the time, the death. But he certainly starts dealing with it now, because it starts coming out in the way he's behaving and the way he's conveying himself. Eventually he decides to essentially run away. He tells different people. He tells one person he's running away to a ranch in Colorado to be a cowboy. He tells his little sister. His little sister famously asks him, and this is where the famous kind of Catcher in the Rye name comes from. His sister is fed up with him being so depressed and down all the time, and Phoebe, his little sister, asks him, and Phoebe is far more mature, it seems, than her age would suggest. I think she's only about 7 in the book, but asks Holden what is it he wants to do with his life. So if everything's so phony here, what do you want to do, and what is your dream job? And this is where the famous title comes from. Holden explains his dream job, his dream pastime is, quote, "I'm standing on the edge of some crazy cliff. What I have to do, I have to catch everybody if they start to go over the cliff. I mean, if they're running and they don't look where they're going, I have to come out from somewhere and catch them. That's all I do all day. I'd just be the catcher in the rye and all." And what he's basically explaining is that his dream job would be that kids would be playing baseball apparently on the edge of a cliff, I don't know why, and he would stand in the rye, which is obviously a field of corn, if you like. It's a farmer's field, and just as the kids were running towards the ball, he would stop them from falling off the cliff. Now, the cliff could be anything. The cliff might not be an actual cliff that you would fall and hurt yourself from. The cliff you begin to imagine is on his mind is that he doesn't want to fall off the cliff, because the cliff is kind of real life, and it's kind of him Holden falling off the cliff would be him facing real life. And essentially it starts and ends with him in a mental institution, which sounds bad to say, but that's what it is. He's in a hospital for the depressed and the mentally insane, and it turns out he has been there the full time, and he's just recalling this event that happened to him, these events that happened to him in the lead up to Christmas. As I say, 4 days leading up to Christmas. And yeah, that's about it. That's my favourite book. It's called The Catcher in the Rye. The only reason I ever came across it was because it's mentioned kind of famously, relatively famously, in my favourite band's song, which is called Le Pastis de la Bourgeoisie, and it mentions The Catcher in the Rye, and then I went to look up what The Catcher in the Rye was, and I read it, and I really enjoyed it. It's maybe kind of grown up, but in a few years, hopefully you'll pick up the book and you will enjoy it. and hopefully that hasn't been too boring. I just thought I'd have a wee kind of book review thing, because you guys are probably doing the same at school right now. Hopefully you've had a fun book review day, World Book Day, aye. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Things are apparently in motion since I seen you, Declan. I wish it was, well, as easy as seeing you at any time your mother chooses. But again, it's all in the hands of lawyers and stuff like that. You told me a month ago how much you loved me, and I told you just as much that I love you twice as much as that. But I'm hoping that the end is in sight, and hopefully you've been going on the Facebook page and stuff like that and understand and appreciate the fact that I'm kind of changing the name of it from Fight for Boo to it's kind of like our fight now. Because it isn't a fight for you anymore, it's a fight for the both of us. The both of us know what we want. Anybody that was present on a particular day a month ago knows what you and I want. There's really one person standing in the way. But anyway, I love you very much. Best song ever.
Time for me to stop running. I need to believe what people tell me. Let all my fans know I love them. But a gay fish just can't live in the outside world forever. Don't be sad for me, guys. I'm going home.
Do it, can you? Go home.
Come on. I've been so lonely, girl. I've been so sad and down. Couldn't understand why haters joked around. I wanted to be free with other creatures like me, and now I got my wish. Cause I knew that I'm a gay fish, yeah. I'm a fish, yeah. It's alright, girl. Making love to other gay fish. All those lonely nights at the grocery store, in the frozen fish aisle, feeling like a whore. Cause it wasn't being true, even though everyone said that I had to make a switch, gay fish. Now I know that I'm a gay fish, yeah. I'm a fish, yeah. Now where I belong, girl. Making love to other gay fish.